Alright, hey, it's Matt, BlindGuysGarage. And today, the plan is to finally get the big block stroker on the run stand. You see where we're starting? I've done a little bit of work on it since y'all have been here with us. Water pump's just sitting here. Oil pan's on, timing cover's on, balancer is on. Getting ready to set the intake, as you can tell. This is probably just going to be bring in and out as things come together on this thing. But my goal right now for the night is I had to go to the parts store. Silicone. We got plenty of half tubes, but not quite enough to do the full intake on it. So let's get this thing finished so we can get it on the run stand tomorrow. Bring it back in a second. All right. Well, she's changed a little bit since I had you on camera. Also, it's been a few days since I had you on the camera with this guy here. So what we got right now, we got her basically ready to go on the run stand. We got to tighten up the brackets for the alternator and that kind of stuff. Alternator's ugly as all get out. I know. Just ignore that. Let's see. So what I've come into so far is this thing's got studs that mount here, and then these aluminum sleeve nut spacer things. Well, this stud was jacked up. That stud was jacked up. I was able to fix it. The spacer was jacked up. I was able to fix it. So was the spacer down here. I was able to fix it. So I have to get one stud. Not a big deal. We'll cut it out some all thread rod or something. We don't know yet. And this set over here, they're just fine. Both studs were fine. Just got nuts on them. I don't know if you can see them in there, but those are just fine. Nothing wrong with that side at all. So here she is. Now we're gonna wrestle this thing up on the run stand. Oh yeah. And we got to change these bolts because the bolts in the pan here are too long. So you can hear the washer spin. So we'll change all these bolts down the sides of the pan, and then we'll get this thing up on the run stand. So for now, we'll bring it back as we're sitting on the run stand, or after it's sitting on the run stand, or something. We'll see. All right, here we go. Hoist out. Getting ready to set it up on the run stand. So we're in the process. We're going to put the flex plate on it. It's laying right there. Got our ARP bolts sitting right there on the workstation. So let's jump straight to it. I don't know if I'm on videos hanging on the stand or not, but we'll see what happens. All right, and as I'll always tell you, make sure you Loctite every bolt. So now, let's Loctite a bolt. All right, got some Loctite on the bolt. All the other bolts have Loctite on them. These are not bolts you want to mess around with, because the last thing you want is for these things to come loose while you're working or while it's running. Walk the flex plate up. Well, it's got a little paint on it, so I'm probably going to have to walk them in and out a little bit. Take this one back loose because I didn't clean this up. So let's see what I can do here. All right, all the bolts are tight. Yep, scratch some of the paint off right there on the flex plate, if you look, see? But, done. Also, make sure you always line up this dowel pin hole. This one doesn't have a dowel pin in it, surprisingly, as it's a 496. I would have figured it would. But it doesn't have one currently, so I guess either way, always make sure you line this dowel pin hole up if it has one. This one has one. It's lined up. So let's get this thing hanging on the run stand. I don't really like it hanging over the hoist like this. Has I don't know, it's what, $12,000? Let's get it moving. All right, well, we're just working along. Yeah, I didn't video putting it on the stand. Obviously, I didn't video putting the headers on. I'm working on this oil dipstick right now, which is not a big deal. I'm having to find my dang drill, which is just located. It's right here behind me. Located as I was getting on the camera. So here's where we are so far. The radiator hoses are already on the stand. All I did was hook them up, top and bottom. They're both ready. We got to plug this one pipe plug over here. We got the water temp sensor hooked up, and we already have this line hooked. We're just going to have to put another small hose clamp on the end and tighten him down. Then we got a crossover line. Oil pump driver's already in here. All we gotta do is pump it up. I mean, you know, looks just like every other engine that goes on the run stand, except this is a nice one. Pull the valve cover off. Dump a couple quarts of oil down its throat. Rotella 1540 is what we're using for this. So I guess that covers it for now. I guess I'll bring you back in a little bit. It's looking good though. All right, it's that time. Oil pressure time. We get to find out if we get oil pressure everywhere we need oil pressure. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers it. Do we have oil pressure? Everywhere we need oil pressure. So let's start and just kind of look over our shoulder right here and see if we can get some oil pressure. I don't hear nothing yet. Oh, there it goes. Now let's check for leaks on the ground. Around the oil filter. Oil filter's good. Pan's good. All right, let's run it for a minute. See if we can get oil all the way up to the tops of the lifters. So let's just bring you in right here. We're looking for oil. Let's see what kind of oil pressure we got. We got good oil pressure. Really good oil pressure. Looking for oil. Still looking for it. There we got oil. I see some right here. So now we got oil starting to come to the top. It poured over the edge right there on the valve cover, rail right there. So we got some oil right here. I don't see anything else anywhere else on the top end up here. But we know we have oil all the way to the top of the motor. We'll do some more of that later. This drill does not like doing that check, but this thing obviously holds really good oil pressure. So let's do it one more time, give you one quick oil pressure hit. Are you ready? There we go, good oil pressure. Take one more glance over the rocker arms. Oh, we got oil right there. So we have 2 rockers on this side that has oil, and that's okay. Oh, 3. A little bit on that one too. So there we go. We have oil pressure at the top of the motor. We'll adjust all the valves in a little bit and then redo the oil pressure check, and we'll probably rotate the motor a couple turns and that kind of stuff. So let's get to it. Well, as I'm getting ready to turn the motor over, we hit stuff, and it appears to have some oil pan clearance issues. So now let's pull the oil pan and see if we're hitting the oil pan. All right, well, here's where we're at. I went and ate dinner. Yeah, I know, I eat a lot. So get the valve covers bolted back on, really just sat on there, just sitting there, covering, keeping trash out of the motor. Pull the pan back off, and we'll lean in here and show you what's going on, if we can see it. There you go, you can actually see it right there. Witness marks in the pan from where the rods are hitting the pan. Well, I guess it is what it is. It's a nice little hit though. I don't know. But, yep. We can clearance that pan if we really wanted to. The problem comes in to the next thing. If you'll look right here, I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Yep, you can see it. Right here. And right here, this pan's leaking in the corners, in the welds. So, 2 problems. Obviously, brand new oil. Yeah, right. So 2 problems we have now. One, we're gonna put this pan back some. Slide it back a little bit. There we go. Let's get most of that out of there. All right. So we have 2 problems. One, we could clearance the pan and fix that. That wouldn't be that big of a deal, because it's just right there. It's hitting. Probably a little farther back. We'd clearance it out a little bit with a hammer. We'd be good. But number 2, the pan's leaking in the welds. That's the biggest problem. So for now, I guess I'm gonna end this one right here with this thing hanging on the stand. All right, and we're back on this guy. So we got the new oil pan on, oil in the pan. We're getting ready to set the timing, or at least close, because I don't have a timing tab. So we're gonna just hit real close and see what we can do with that. So let's do that. Let's set the timing. As you can tell, I got oil pressure up on this side, but for some reason I don't have oil pressure on the other side. So it could be a couple different reasons, but we're gonna start with the fact that maybe the motor's gotta be spinning while pulling pressure. So we'll see if that works. So let's go to that first. And yeah, let's do that first. All right, so now what you'll do to get the TDC, put your breaker bar, ratchet, use the starter, anything, and you'll plug your finger over the number 1 hole. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna pull until we get compression. Hear that? Now we know we're on the compression stroke with the valves halfway adjusted. So both valves are actually closed right there, which I don't know if that's good or not. We'll find out. So now we'll drop a McDonald's straw down here. So give me a second. All right, well, I currently don't have a McDonald's straw, so I'm just gonna use an Allen wrench. Screwdriver will work too if you don't. I just try to, oh, there's my screwdriver. So what you'll do is you'll take your screwdriver, set it down on top of the piston very gently, and we'll turn the motor over until we're all the way at the very top. On the way up, if you'll watch, let me try to get my body out of the way. If you'll watch the screwdriver, it'll come out. See it? Still coming up, still coming up, still coming up, still coming up. All right, we're at the top. Now, see how far it takes us to get back to the stroke here. So let's keep going. All right, we're on the way down. So now we'll rotate the ratchet. We know we're on the way down now. So let's go all the way to the top. Now we're on the way down. So we'll have to center that up at the top. Right there, that's dead on 0 TDC or very close. All right, distributor time. So what your goal here is to have this rotor button right here pointing straight at this #1 rocker arm right here. So we'll see if we can make that happen. A lot of times you'll have to reach in there and adjust the oil pump drive rod. Most times you will. So let's see if we can get away without having to. So let's set the distributor just like so. Set her in, she'll start turning. I don't think that's going to be where we want to be anyway, because as it drops, it's not going to quite be enough. So we'll go one more tooth over. Let's see if we can find the oil pump drive. There's the oil pump drive. It just fell right in. Now, sometimes you can walk it around if you do it just right. See that? Walked it around. Let's do it again. All right. So is that going to be #1? No, that's pointing about right here. So let's go one more tooth. All right, one more. Here we go. One more tooth. Still not there. Nope. One more time. Oh, that's going to be too far, I'm sure. But let's try it. Oh, that's right where you want to be, right there. All right, as you can see, now it's time to time in the distributor. Yes, I spun the motor back over, reset us here because I forgot that I hadn't timed the distributor. So yeah, smart guy. So now, if you'll look, you can cheat on this cap. And here's the probe we're looking for #1. You line the rotor button right up with it. Normally, you'd be marking this thing, setting this down, and checking it. All right, #1's right here. You mark the side of the housing, set the rotor button in place of the housing. Boom, that's going to be really close to plus or minus 0 degrees TDC. And we'll throw a little bit of time in it when we start playing with it. So there's where we want it set. But that's how you set it. You just find #1's right here. So then you'd lift the cap off and line it up with the top of the rotor button there. But like I said, since you can actually see the pointer inside there, see if I can get a good angle on that thing for you. You know you're already in the right place. So now, let's keep going. All right, all we got left now is our fuel system. Distributor, coils, plug wires, all that good stuff. We're all hooked up. But it's late, and we can't crank this thing now anyway, so we'll do that tomorrow. So bring it back then. All right, I believe we're ready. So we've done a once over on all the plug wires. Got a carburetor and fuel system in. I've primed the system with the electric pump in the tank well under the tank. I don't even know if the battery's gonna have enough juice yet. So we're really, only thing we're gonna have is an oil pressure gauge. This is just gonna be a fire up, see how it runs for just a few seconds. Pop this valve cover, make sure we get oil on top of both valve covers. And then we'll put a cooling system together for it tomorrow or the next day. But let's see what we can do here. All right, let's see what happens. First things first, pump squirters. Fuel. Fuel. No spark. Maybe. Huh. Well, that's weird. Try one more time. Uh-oh. Let's give her a little more timing. We always like more timing, don't we? Here we go. I think this one's gonna sound good. I think she wants more timing though. All right, for those who don't know, I don't have a timing tab on this motor yet. Oh shit. Whoa! Need more timing. All right, real quick. I think a lot of the problems I'm having is this carburetor, and I could tune it in, make it right, but I don't want to mess with it too much because part of the problem is I think we got too much tip. We're overflowing the front bowls. So what I'm gonna do is, as I've always done, I'm gonna throw my little Fitech EFI on it and it'll fire right up right here on the run stand. So having said that, I'll bring you back in just a minute. Actually, probably be later because I'm gonna charge the batteries up, that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna swap the EFI over and it might be tomorrow. So we'll see. All right, it's the next morning. You saw we got this thing fired up last night, which last night was actually 2 days later after we started trying to fire it up. Got into some issues and wasn't able to get it running, so we'll go over those later. But as of right now, we have it running. I don't know, I haven't pulled the valve covers yet to see if we have oil at the top of the motor like we're supposed to. It ran for all of 15 to 20 seconds last night, so I know we had 70 pounds of oil pressure. Ran pretty good, so I'm pretty happy. Here's what was going on real quick with what happened the other night. Number one, carburetor was bleeding over too much fuel. As you saw, it was popping through the carburetor. Well, part of that was my fault and part of it was carburetor's fault. It had twin problems going on. I'm used to grabbing the time in advance, vacuum time in advance and pulling it towards the front of the engine. So that's what I did just naturally on this side over here. Well, yeah, I was retarding the timing like a dumbass. So it is what it is. So for now, we've swapped, put the Fitech EFI kit on it, as you can tell. Runs fantastic. We're gonna get the carburetor back on it after I pull it apart and find out why it was seeping, and go from there. So for now, I think I'm gonna leave it right here. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll bring you back for the next one on this guy. It'll be a few days for sure, but for y'all, it'll be in about 2 or 3 days, maybe 4. Later, y'all have a good one. As always, I always read, comment, and reply to every comment y'all leave, and I greatly appreciate it. Like I said before, like, share, subscribe. Have a good one.